Destiny 2 is an immensely complicated game due to the sheer amount of mechanics that play into each other. This means that there is an unlimited opportunity for players to discover and utilize tools for purposes they might not have been made for. This makes the game exciting and fresh for long-term players, but can leave new players very overwhelmed. This series will attempt to introduce new and intermediate players to commonly used techniques and mechanics that can easily go unnoticed in a quick and understandable format. Most of the techniques I present will be for PvP use, but some do have their place in PvE. And I'll also be exploring some strange effects and glitches that are less popularly known. So buckle up and prepare to take your Destiny experience to the next level. Let's say you've played a decent bit of PvP. Your accuracy is alright, you know your abilities pretty well, and you're comfortable with your weapons. But for some reason you're still underperforming. There is an endless list of techniques such as sliding more often, strafing to avoid being shot, and other essential advanced tactics. If you haven't already, I would recommend checking out a channel like Pattycakes Gaming, or really anybody who can break down advanced Crucible strategies. But despite these more obvious, larger subjects, a few things go unmentioned and are still very prevalent. First off, we have reload canceling. Some of you might already be familiar with doing this from other first-person shooters, but I thought I'd bring it up anyways because there's still a decent bit of people who don't know about it. So keep an eye on the ammo count in your magazine. You'll notice about maybe 60 or 70% through the animation, your magazine will fill up. This means you can start sprinting just after that fills up and you're good, it'll stay full. But you might notice for a short duration after reload canceling, you won't be able to shoot. And eventually, after using this enough, you won't have to look at the ammo count at all, you can just pay attention to the animation and you'll get used to when it actually triggers. Which is almost always the point where the magazine is actually loaded into the gun. If there's another animation part of that, like a bolt pulling back or anything like that, that's unnecessary and you can skip it. Next up is the swap glitch. Now this technique is a bit harder to perform, but it's very rewarding if you can do it. Start by aiming down sights, then tap the sprint key, your next weapon you want to select, and forward at the same time. If you do this right, you can easily tell that this is a huge advantage over anyone that doesn't do this. For example, let's say there's an enemy at the distance of this closer brick wall. I can shotgun him, but if I wasn't quite close or accurate enough and he moves to this second wall, which is too far for my shotgun, I'm going to want to pull out my hand cannon and finish him off before he gets away. But I just wasn't quick enough and he got around a corner and recovered from my original shotgun blast. But if I use the swap glitch to instantly pull out my hand cannon, I can get several shots off in the same amount of time that it took me to get aimed otherwise. And since it goes both ways, if a second guy comes up to me with a shotgun while I'm still shooting the first guy, I can instantly swap to my shotgun and take him out before he becomes too much of a problem. And this third one's directed towards PC players and is less of a glitch or technique and more so advice. Key bindings. This might seem like it's not a big deal and you should just play with whatever you're comfortable with. While that's generally true, there are some keys that when rebound can make you just that much more capable. The interact or use key is automatically bound to E, which is nice since that's what most other games use. But I would recommend adding a second bind in the slot on the right to something like mouse 4 if your mouse has extra buttons. This way when you're reviving someone or opening a door, you won't be restricted in how you can strafe and use your grenades and reload and things like that. But at the end of the day, if you can hold E and still strafe around and do everything you need to do, then that works just fine. And if you want to be a nightmare to anybody that's trying to shoot you in Crucible, rebind toggle crouch to mouse scroll down. It's kinda hard to do mid-clicking and stuff like that, maybe there's a better key for it, but it's just funny to be able to crouch that fast, especially if you have a free scrolling mouse wheel. And that's going to do it for this first episode of a series that I hope to keep expanding on for a while. This first episode is going to be a little bit longer than the other ones just because of the intro and the explanation of what this series actually is. This episode had the general theme of fast and snappy gunplay, while others will have themes such as class-specific maneuverability or hidden exotic armor effects. Anyways, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Take care.